Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a simple but powerful question. What if the next 90 days could change the next 9 years of your life? Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in 90 days. We live in a world where everyone wants quick results, instant success, overnight miracles. But real transformation, deep, meaningful, lasting transformation doesn't happen in a moment. It happens through consistent effort day after day. That is why today I want to remind you of something truly life-changing. You need a 90-day plan. Clarity creates power because it gives purpose to every step you take. And in a world full of noise, distractions, and constant movement, clarity is the single strongest force that can anchor your mind and guide your actions. When you begin a 90-day journey, the very first requirement is not motivation or even discipline. It is clarity. Clarity answers the fundamental questions: what do you want? Why do you want it? And who do you need to become in the process? Most people move through life reacting to circumstances rather than creating them. They wake up and let the day control them instead of deciding how they will control their day. Without clarity, even the most enthusiastic effort loses direction, and even the brightest ideas lose momentum. But the moment you define your 90-day vision with precision, something powerful happens. Your mind aligns, your energy sharpens, and your goals become measurable instead of vague desires. Clarity is more than knowing your goals. It is understanding your priorities. When you clearly define what matters most in the coming 90 days, you naturally begin to let go of what doesn't. The unnecessary tasks, the draining commitments, the habits that weaken your focus, and the distractions that steal your time, they all start fading in importance because your mind becomes anchored to something bigger. Clarity teaches you to say no without guilt and yes without hesitation. It helps you avoid the trap of scattering your energy in 10 directions and instead channel it into one meaningful direction. With this, you become more efficient, more intentional, and far more productive than ever before. When clarity enters your life, decision-making becomes easier. You stop second-guessing yourself because your path becomes simpler and straighter. Every choice is filtered through a single question: does this help me move closer to my 90-day goal? If the answer is no, you know exactly what to do. This reduces stress, eliminates confusion, and builds inner confidence. People often think they lack motivation, but in reality, they lack clarity. When you know where you are going, motivation becomes natural. When you know why you are doing something, discipline becomes automatic. Clarity provides an internal compass that keeps you steady even when circumstances shift or challenges arise. Clarity also fuels emotional strength. A clear mind is a calmer mind. When your vision is defined, you experience less anxiety because uncertainty decreases. You stop feeling overwhelmed by the future because you have already structured the next 90 days with purpose. You no longer wonder what to do, you simply follow the plan. Even if the journey becomes difficult, clarity gives you the resilience to continue. You know the destination, and you understand the value of every step, even the challenging ones. This emotional stability becomes a powerful asset during your 90-day transformation. Clarity strengthens your self-belief. When you create a clear plan and start acting on it, you build small victories. These victories accumulate, forming evidence that you are capable of achieving more than you previously believed. Every completed task becomes proof that your goals are not impossible. They are attainable with direction and commitment. This confidence encourages you to aim higher, push harder, and stay consistent. Ultimately, clarity transforms your 90-day plan into a meaningful mission rather than just a list of tasks. It gives you a sense of direction that turns time into opportunity, effort into progress, and dreams into action. When you operate from clarity, you no longer drift, you advance. You no longer guess, you act. and you no longer hope for change, you create it with intention and purpose. Consistency beats intensity, because true progress is not built on rare moments of inspiration, but on steady, repeated actions that compound over time. In a culture that celebrates dramatic breakthroughs and overnight success, it is easy to forget that the foundation of any meaningful achievement is consistency. When you begin a 90-day plan, you may feel a surge of motivation in the beginning, but motivation alone is temporary. What sustains you when excitement fades is the quiet discipline of showing up every day, even when the day doesn't feel perfect or inspiring. Intensity can spark movement, but consistency sustains momentum. Intensity is loud, but consistency is powerful, and power always wins in the long run. Most people wait for big moments to make progress, believing that success requires massive effort all at once. But the reality is the opposite. The small actions that you repeat each day, waking up on time, committing to your routine, completing your tasks, eliminating distractions, are the actions that build a strong identity and stable progress. One intense effort may bring temporary results, but consistent effort brings lasting transformation. The psychology behind this is simple. The brain thrives on repetition. Habits form through patterns, not bursts. What you repeat becomes who you are. And a 90-day plan is most effective not because it pushes you to do more, but because it teaches you to do something every single day. Consistency also reduces emotional pressure. When you rely on intensity, every effort feels heavy, demanding, and dramatic. But when you rely on consistency, the process becomes lighter and manageable. You stop expecting perfection because progress becomes your priority. You don't need to achieve everything today. You just need to move one step forward. This mindset removes the fear of failure because daily action guarantees improvement. Even on your low energy days, your consistent effort ensures you're still moving forward instead of falling behind. By the end of the 90 days, these small steps turn into significant achievements. One of the most valuable benefits of consistency is that it builds trust within yourself. When you do what you said you would do day after day, you strengthen your self-respect. You begin to believe in your commitment, your resilience, and your ability to reach your goals. Every day that you show up reinforces the message that you are reliable, capable, and disciplined. Intensity may impress others, but consistency impresses your own mind. This self-trust becomes a powerful asset, especially during the challenging phases of your 90-day plan. It keeps you strong, focused, and emotionally grounded. Consistency also transforms your environment. When you consistently act on your goals, your mind becomes clearer, your habits become stronger, and your priorities become sharper. Distractions lose their influence because your daily routine speaks louder than your excuses. You begin to attract opportunities aligned with your efforts, and the people around you start noticing your growth. Consistency communicates seriousness. It tells the world and yourself that you are committed to your mission, not merely wishing for change. Most importantly, consistency compounds. One day of consistent action may feel insignificant, but 30 days build momentum, 60 days build mastery, and 90 days build transformation. The compounding effect of consistent effort is one of the greatest forces in personal growth. It turns ordinary routines into extraordinary results. It builds habits so deeply that even after your 90-day plan, the discipline stays with you. When you look back at the end of 90 days, you realize that it wasn't the days you worked the hardest that changed you. It was the days you showed up, even when you didn't feel like it. This is why consistency always beats intensity. It gives you stability, direction, and progress that lasts. It transforms your identity, strengthens your confidence, and shapes your future one day at a time. Through consistency, your 90-day plan becomes not just a strategy, but a lifestyle. One that leads you steadily and confidently toward the best version of yourself. 90 days is enough to transform you because it strikes the perfect balance between urgency and possibility. It's long enough to create measurable change, yet short enough to keep you fully committed without losing focus. When you choose to dedicate 90 days to a clear and structured plan, you are giving yourself a concentrated window of time where your energy, attention, and discipline can come together to create a powerful shift. Many people postpone their goals because they imagine transformation as something that requires years. But the truth is that meaningful progress doesn't always require long stretches of time. It requires intentional time. 90 days, when used well, can reshape your habits, redefine your mindset, and redirect the course of your life. The power of a 90-day period lies in its psychological impact. It creates a sense of urgency that prevents procrastination, while also providing enough room to break down your goals into manageable steps. You are neither overwhelmed by a long-term vision nor rushed by a short-term deadline. Instead, you operate in a zone where commitment feels attainable and results feel visible. This time frame keeps your mind focused because 90 days is close enough to feel real, yet long enough for genuine progress. This psychological balance encourages consistency, drives discipline, and keeps motivation alive in a way that longer plans often fail to do. 90 days is also an ideal time frame for building and reinforcing habits. Research shows that habits are formed through repeated actions over a sustained period, and a structured 90-day approach provides precisely that. You give yourself enough time to break old patterns and replace them with healthier ones. Whether it's improving your health, enhancing your productivity, or learning a new skill, 90 days is sufficient to create a routine that sticks. As each day builds on the one before it, your habits begin to shift from conscious effort to automatic behavior. This transition is where transformation truly begins. Because once your habits change, your life changes. During a 90-day journey, you also begin to see tangible results. These results reinforce your commitment and fuel your confidence. Progress becomes measurable. Your energy increases. Your focus sharpens. Your tasks get completed and your self-belief grows. Even if the results are small at first, they create a ripple effect that strengthens your determination. You begin to trust the process because you can see the evidence of your effort. This level of feedback is essential for sustaining long-term change, and 90 days provides the perfect window for these results to emerge. Another powerful aspect of a 90-day plan is the clarity it brings to your life. When you commit to such a focused period, you are forced to examine what truly matters and what no longer deserves your time. You naturally begin to eliminate distractions because your mind is anchored to your goal. 90 days gives you a reason to prioritize yourself, your growth, and your future. It encourages you to set boundaries, manage your time better, and make decisions that align with your purpose. This shift in priorities can be transformative because it teaches you to take control of your life instead of letting life control you. Most importantly, 90 days can change your identity. Transformation is not only about achieving goals, it's about becoming the kind of person who is capable of achieving those goals repeatedly. When you commit to a 90-day plan, you begin to see yourself differently. You become someone who follows through, someone who honors discipline, someone who takes ownership of their growth. This renewed identity creates long-lasting confidence, resilience, and direction. By the end of the 90 days, you don't just see change, you feel it. You think differently, act differently, and believe differently. This is why 90 days is not just a time frame. It is a powerful container for transformation. It gives you structure, focus, discipline, time, and belief. It pushes you to grow while giving you enough space to evolve. When approached with commitment and clarity, 90 days can elevate your life in ways that once felt out of reach, proving that transformation doesn't require years, just intention, consistency, and the courage to begin. A 90-day plan teaches you the profound discipline of removing distractions and building habits, a process that is essential for anyone seeking meaningful growth. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Notifications, noise, endless digital temptations, unnecessary commitments, and the constant pull of comparison. These distractions don't simply take away time, they drain focus, dilute energy, and create mental clutter. When you commit to a structured 90-day journey, you are making a conscious decision to step out of this cycle and reclaim control of your attention. This shift is not just practical, it is transformative. It forces you to acknowledge what is consuming your life without adding value and empowers you to let it go. Removing distractions is not only about eliminating what is unnecessary, but also about recognizing the difference between what is urgent and what is important. Urgent tasks demand quick responses, but rarely lead to long-term progress. Important tasks, however, quietly determine the quality of your future. The problem is that most people live in a state of urgency, constantly reacting to their surroundings. A 90-day plan pushes you to reverse this pattern. You begin aligning your day around what matters most instead of what screams the loudest. This shift in priority boosts your productivity, strengthens your mental clarity, and allows you to use your time with far more intention. Once distractions are minimized, you create space for powerful habits to take root. Habits are the foundation of transformation because they shape your identity and determine your results. During a 90-day plan, you give yourself the opportunity to develop habits that reinforce who you want to become. Whether it's waking up earlier, planning your day, reading consistently, exercising, learning a skill, or practicing mindfulness, the repetitive nature of these habits gradually rewires your mind. What initially feels like discipline begins to feel natural. Your habits evolve from being tasks you perform to becoming a part of who you are. Building habits within a 90-day window also gives you enough time to experience the benefits of consistency. Many people fail to build habits because they quit before they feel any reward. But during a 90-day commitment, you push past this early phase and start experiencing real results. More energy, more focus, better performance, improved mindset, and greater emotional balance. These results reinforce your commitment and make the habit easier to sustain. You begin to look forward to the actions that once required discipline. Another profound benefit of removing distractions and building habits is the emotional stability it brings. When your life is filled with distractions, your mind becomes scattered and restless. But when you intentionally focus on meaningful habits, you cultivate a deeper sense of calm, control, and confidence. The ability to stay present increases, and your stress decreases because you are no longer being pulled in multiple directions. This emotional clarity enhances decision-making, sharpens self-awareness, and improves your overall quality of life. The process also strengthens your self-discipline. Every time you choose a productive habit over a fleeting distraction, you reinforce your self-control. This builds internal strength, a kind of mental muscle that grows with every disciplined decision. Over the course of 90 days, this discipline becomes a natural part of your identity. You start valuing long-term benefits over short-term pleasure. You stop seeking constant stimulation and start appreciating structure, routine, and focus. This inner discipline becomes one of the most valuable takeaways from the entire 90-day journey. When distractions decrease and powerful habits take their place, your environment also transforms. You attract opportunities, experiences, and people that match your elevated level of focus and commitment. Your growth becomes visible, not just in your achievements, but in your behavior, your thinking, and your presence. This transformation is not accidental, it is a result of conscious effort repeated daily within a clear structure. A focused 90-day plan becomes the catalyst that rewires your life. It removes what weighs you down, strengthens what lifts you up, and sets you on a path where growth is intentional, consistent, and deeply rewarding. Progress over perfection is one of the most liberating principles you can embrace during a 90-day journey, because it shifts your mindset from pressure to possibility. Many people fail to move forward not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they are waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect version of themselves. Perfection creates hesitation, and hesitation kills momentum. When you commit to valuing progress over perfection, you free yourself from unrealistic expectations and open the door to consistent, meaningful improvement. This shift in thinking is essential because growth is rarely clean, flawless, or predictable. It is messy, gradual, and filled with lessons that shape you far more than perfection ever could. A 90-day plan thrives on progress because progress is measurable and attainable. Perfection is neither. Every day provides small opportunities to grow, completing a task you avoided, learning something unfamiliar, improving a habit, or correcting a mistake. These may seem like small victories, but they are the building blocks of transformation. When you acknowledge each step forward, no matter how small, you reinforce a positive cycle of effort and reward. This creates motivation that is sustainable, not dependent on emotional highs. You begin to understand that success is not about doing everything perfectly, but about showing up consistently and improving steadily. Progress over perfection also reduces fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. Perfection demands flawless execution, and that pressure often paralyzes you before you even begin. But when progress becomes your focus, mistakes are no longer threats, they are part of the journey. You learn to see setbacks as feedback, not final outcomes. This mindset allows you to stay flexible, adaptive, and resilient. Instead of giving up when things don't go as planned, you reassess, adjust, and continue. This resilience is one of the most valuable skills you develop within a 90-day commitment because it ensures that you don't lose your momentum every time life gets difficult. Choosing progress helps you build confidence in a more authentic way. Confidence does not come from perfection, but from knowing that you are improving. Every day you make even the smallest progress, you gather evidence that you are capable, disciplined, and moving closer to your goals. This evidence strengthens your self-belief and makes you more willing to take on challenges you once avoided. Over time, this growing confidence empowers you to make bolder decisions, pursue bigger dreams, and trust your abilities more deeply. It becomes a cycle where progress builds confidence, and confidence inspires more progress. Another important aspect of embracing progress is the increased productivity it brings. When you are not fixated on doing everything perfectly, you become more efficient. You take action faster because you are not overthinking every detail. Perfection delays execution, but progress values movement. This shift allows you to accomplish more in less time because you focus on completing tasks rather than obsessing over minor imperfections. Over the course of 90 days, this increased efficiency compounds, resulting in significant accomplishments that would not have been possible under the heavy weight of perfectionism. Progress over perfection also leads to genuine personal growth. Perfection focuses on the outcome, progress focuses on the process. And it is the process that changes you. Each day of showing up, learning, adjusting, and trying again shapes your character. It builds discipline, humility, patience, and perseverance. These qualities stay with you long after the 90 days are over. Perfection may produce results, but progress produces transformation. You become someone who values learning more than appearing flawless, someone who chooses courage over comfort, and someone who moves forward regardless of uncertainty. Perhaps the most powerful aspect of prioritizing progress is the sense of momentum it creates. Progress generates movement, and movement creates motivation. The more you act, the more motivated you feel. Motivation does not precede action, it follows it. When you focus on progress, you ensure that every day contributes to a sense of forward motion. Even on days when your progress is minimal, it still counts. It still keeps you aligned with your goals. It still reinforces that you are committed. This momentum becomes your greatest strength, carrying you through the entire 90-day journey with purpose and determination. By adopting this mindset, you turn the next 90 days into a powerful space where improvement matters more than perfection, effort matters more than flawlessness, and growth matters more than image. Through steady progress, you build a future that perfection could never create. Your future self is counting on you because every decision you make today shapes the person you will become tomorrow. When you begin a 90-day journey, you are not only working for the present moment, you are building a foundation for the life you will live months, years, and even decades from now. Many people underestimate the power of the present, forgetting that the future is not something that suddenly arrives. It is something created through daily choices, consistent action, and intentional growth. The version of you that is stronger, wiser, more confident, and more successful is waiting on the other side of the decisions you make today. This awareness creates a powerful sense of responsibility and motivation, reminding you that what you do now matters more than you realize. When you think of your future self, not as a distant stranger, but as someone you deeply care about, you begin to make decisions with greater clarity. You start asking, will this action benefit the future me? This simple shift transforms your behavior. You begin prioritizing discipline over comfort, learning over laziness, and long-term rewards over short-term pleasures. A 90-day plan becomes a meaningful contract with your future self, an agreement that you will not leave your potential to chance. This mindset pushes you toward growth even on the days you feel unmotivated, because you understand that your future depends on your present consistency. Imagining your future self is one of the most powerful psychological tools you can use. When you picture yourself healthier, more stable, more skilled, more confident, or more fulfilled, you awaken a sense of purpose and direction. You give yourself something to strive toward. You turn abstract dreams into a concrete identity. This future vision becomes a source of strength during your 90-day journey. When you struggle, when you feel tired, when you want to give up, the image of who you are becoming pulls you forward. It acts as a reminder that the temporary discomfort of today is shaping a better tomorrow. Your future self benefits most from the habits you build during these 90 days. Habits determine your destiny because they create long-term patterns of behavior. When you choose good habits, reading daily, eating better, exercising, managing your time, improving skills, your future self inherits the rewards. When you ignore these habits, your future self pays the price. This understanding creates a strong moral responsibility toward your own growth. A 90-day plan provides the structure you need to build these habits consistently, ensuring that you are not just dreaming of a better future, but actively constructing it. Every act of discipline you practice today makes life easier for your future self. Every distraction you eliminate clears space for future opportunities. Every task you complete moves your future forward. Every challenge you overcome adds strength to your future identity. You begin to see that your effort is not wasted, it is invested. A 90-day commitment turns your effort into long-term value, giving your future self a stronger foundation to stand on. This perspective is empowering because it reminds you that you are in control. Your future is not dictated by luck or circumstances, it is shaped by your choices. Thinking about your future self also builds emotional maturity. You learn to delay gratification, to endure temporary discomfort for long-term gain, and to prioritize growth over impulse. This emotional discipline becomes a powerful asset that extends far beyond the 90 days. It improves your relationships, enhances your decision-making, and strengthens your resilience. When you operate with this level of maturity, you stop sabotaging your progress with short-term thinking. You begin to live with intentionality, direction, and purpose. As you move through your 90-day journey, the connection between your present and future self becomes stronger. You begin to appreciate the power of time, not as something to fear, but as something to use wisely. You realize that every effort, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you want to be. You stop living passively and start shaping your life actively, understanding that your future self is relying on you to make decisions that support growth, discipline, and progress. The next 90 days are not just a plan, they are a promise. A promise to yourself that you will not settle for less than your potential. A promise that you will take responsibility for your own evolution. A promise that you will create a future you are proud to live in. And when you honor this promise, your future self will thank you in ways you cannot yet imagine. So, my friends, as we close, let me leave you with this thought. You don't need a new year to redefine your life. You just need the next 90 days. Start today. Start with intention. Start with courage. Your future self is already thanking you for the discipline you are about to build. The next 90 days can transform your mindset, your habits, your career, your relationships, your entire life. But only if you decide, only if you commit, and only if you start now. Thank you.